back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, boys and girls, what is going on? Lee Sanders back with you all for an all-new edition of the RCWR show for this Monday night of September 15th, 2025. God damn, we are going by so quick with the month of September. Before you know it, Thanksgiving's going to be here. And then Christmas. I mean, seriously, I don't know how it is for you all, but man, time is just flying like a mofo over here at my end. Hey, what did y'all think about tonight's WWE Raw on Netflix? Sound off, let me know. Got a poll up on the Twitter and also on YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the post section and you can definitely vote that way. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Mine's pretty good. College life has been going really, honestly, I can't complain. It seems like the workload is increasing a little bit as far as readings and all that. But I think what's really been one of the hardest transitions is I spent so many years at community college just from a media production standpoint, always in the lab working on something new. And now I'm in this position where I gotta deprogram myself from, because like these days I'm itching. I just this semester I'm not doing anything in the labs just yet, and it's kind of nerve wracking. So instead, my brain is what's really being stimulated right now, if you kind of catch my drift. So I'm kind of still adjusting, but I'm going with the flow and everything. So difficult transition, but look, I'm doing more reading than I personally can care for, but it's all good. Let me tell you something. I took this one, well, I still have to continue to take it, but there's this journalism class I thought I was going to be exempt from. There was like this diagnostic exam that we all ended up taking today. And basically, rules of engagement were as follows: if you get a 80% or higher, you get a waiver from the class, and basically you don't have to ride it out until December. So I'm going, well, shit, all the stuff that I know about writing, grammar structures, commas, pronunciations, and, verb, adjective, all that stuff. I'm going, this should be no biggie for me at all. Like, I should nail this with no problem. Man, I scored a 71 out of 80. And when I told Tams and the rest of the family about it, they were like, oh, hey, that's pretty good. You did great. Pat yourself on the back. I'm going, no. You guys don't understand. It's not an 80%. So since it's not an 80%, I am now stuck taking this class until December. And the damn class is only worth 1 credit point. That's it. Just 1 credit hour. That's it. It's not worth 2. It's not worth 3. It's just worth a lousy 1. And before you guys even ask, well, did you try talking to maybe your advisor? See if you can get it waived? Yeah, I tried. No mas. No mas. They are just, no. This is where we draw the line. So I got to ride it out. But, my academic advisor, whenever I've needed to pick her brain, she has been a total sweetheart. And she told me earlier today, she said, look, if it makes you feel any better, a little bit over 60% of those that take that diagnostic exam, such as yourself, they end up having to stay for the whole course till it ends. So take comfort in that for what it's worth. And then, not to mention, you do it now, it's pretty much gonna take you and set you up for your other classes, so that you can definitely stick to your timetable as far as when you're trying to get your bachelor's. So, not for nothing, you're in good hands. You're going to be okay. And plus, the workload, it really is not that much. It is extremely manageable. I promise you. I'm like, okay, we'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah, everybody celebrate. Oh, that's very good. 71 on it. That's good. Like, yeah, but you don't really understand. And once I really broke it down, they're kind of like, yeah, I guess that would kind of make you a little irritated, wouldn't it? Yeah, as if my plate isn't already full as it is. That's not me bitching. I'm just telling you guys what's going on. Anyway, Boston, Massachusetts, the scene of tonight's final WWE Raw as we're going into Wrestlepalooza weekend, the first event on the new ESPN. And we have the most updated information for you guys when it comes to how y'all are pretty much going to be able to access WWE live events on your respected platforms. I know there's a couple of people that are still outside looking in. We'll talk a lot more about that a little bit. We also are going to talk about Andrade being released by the WWE. I'll also give you guys my thoughts on the Worlds Collide Las Vegas event from over the weekend as well. So you guys picked a great night to tune in to the show and everything. Appreciate you guys as always. So look, tonight's WWE Raw pretty solid on the in-ring action overall. I gotta say, we physically saw the return of Bailey. Remember, she's been dealing with her split personalities these past couple of weeks as we've been seeing that play out in vignettes. But we finally saw her. I've really come to appreciate Bailey over the years, and I have admitted here on this show when things seem to just be going a bit ice cold for her, and her being involved in programs where it just kind of seemed like things weren't really gelling that good. And I think a really good example of that was Damage Control. It came out of the gate very hot. Curiosity, buzz definitely there, and it got ice cold, colder than leftovers after Thanksgiving, or that plate on the 4th of July. It got ice cold, real quick and everything. And as I have been very consistent with you all these past couple of weeks, I said, okay, so essentially Bailey is doing her own version of the Three Faces of Foley, per se, but with a nice little twist. And if you guys recall, also, in addition, I said, hey, WWE needs to make sure they tread a little bit carefully on this because, as we all know, some of us, whether it's us directly or it's a loved one or somebody we just happen to know, you know, somebody is out there definitely dealing with some real mental struggles. So, especially if they have a bipolar disorder and or split personalities. And if you guys recall, my message was, look, I'm curious. I'm very curious to see where WWE is going to go with this. But at the same time, WWE definitely has to be a little bit delicate about this. And I said, I'm curious. I want to see what WWE is going to do. And I loved what they were doing with the vignettes and stringing us along with that. I was here on this show as early as last week saying, I hope WWE continues to do these vignettes. And honestly, they could just write this out for maybe another month or two. But it seems like WWE decided they had different plans. As my God, the vignettes probably lasted, if we were lucky, feels like maybe 3 weeks worth of vignettes. If you want to be even more gracious and say 4 weeks, okay, but it kind of feels more along the lines of 3 weeks for me. But Bailey returned, helping out where it counted the most, apparently, helping out Lyra Valkyria, the Hawk Girl of the WWE and everything. Lyra having a solid ass matchup against Roxanne Perez tonight. That actually was a damn good match. Great effort by both women. Very technically sound. I mean, they matched up pretty good in size, stature. Overall, very, very solid matchup. I was quite pleased. And look, if you guys have been checking out the show off and on for at least a couple of months now. I've always been consistent with Lyra as far as the in-ring ability. She's solid. She is definitely all the way around damn good in the ring. She knows her shit. No issues right there. For me, it's just a matter of kind of flushing out the character a little bit more, putting some personality into it, playing up to the crowd, and everything. This was one of those rare instances, though, where you honestly, if you were to tell me Roxanne and Lyra didn't play up to the crowd tonight in this matchup, and instead they just focused on beating the living shit out of each other, I'd go, well, as long as it was a pretty good match, I can get behind that. And that's essentially what we had got tonight. I know they had Raquel Rodriguez try to cause a little bit of interference in this one, and man, shout out to Raquel Rodriguez. She took one nasty ass bump right when Bailey came out and everything. Lyra picking up the victory in her match against Roxanne Perez. Post match, Raquel and Roxanne beating the bejeebus out of Lyra until Bailey came out, and Bailey started doing all the trademark Bailey wave, babyface Bailey, as we remember from way back in the day. She certain mannerisms, certain poses. She even did the whole air balloon little mascot thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When she had the little air balloons back in the day, she even was hitting those poses. I had the biggest smile on my face too as she was doing all of those things. It was pretty nostalgic, yeah, I just felt like I was on cloud nine, and everything. It was nice seeing a hybrid, if you will, of that throwback. But there was a sick ass spot where Raquel Rodriguez was charging at Bailey, and Bailey just pretty much rode that momentum, sent Raquel crashing real hard in the steel post corner. And I mean, good God Almighty, Raquel oversold that like a mofo. Right down to the point, even Bailey kind of looked back like, "Shit, are you all right?" It was kind of one of those looks because I got to tell you, especially when you go back and you look at it in slow motion, uh, Raquel really dedicated herself there. she she over delivered on that spot. Let me tell you. But yeah, Bailey coming out there, pretty much cleaning house and everything. Afterwards, Lyra sitting there on her ass, looking on petrified, not really sure what Bailey is gonna do to her, and we see Bailey kind of acting as though she's having a case. She's talking to herself and then verbally beating herself up, and seemed as though maybe she was getting ready to go on the attack. When instead she decided to hug everybody that was near her. So commentators, cameramen, ring bell keeper, I mean, you name it. She was dishing out hugs left and right. Lyra would try to follow up with her later in the night. My ring doorbell is going off. Hang on. Release the hounds. The girls are there is a person. Have you guys got the new ring update? I'm really loving it. You can now activate a description to let you know exactly what's going on in front of your ring camera. So in my case, person at front door. A person is walking on the pathway with a dark colored bag. Yeah, that sounds like my wife. And now that I'm looking at the footage and I'm kind of listening a little bit, yes, I can hear the wifey. Anyway, um, yeah, Lyra tried looking for Bailey shortly after that assist, and she came across Bailey's locker room where she could hear Bailey getting into an argument with her alters. That's the nicest way we can sum that up, right? Her alters, and then which she helped herself on into Bailey's locker room, wanted to know who she was talking to and everything. Bailey saying, "Oh, no one. How can I help you? What's up?" And Lyra a little bit flabbergasted because she heard the arguing and all that. Bailey eventually kind of kirked a little bit, saying she didn't appreciate Lyra coming into her locker room unannounced, not even knocking on the door and all that. Pretty much see herself out. So kind of nice what we got going on right there. Speaking of Lyra Valkyria, I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but apparently it was announced on social media. It looks like earlier uh, that no longer is Tiffany Stratton going to be involved on the NXT side of things. If you guys can bear with me, I can tell you what's going on here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find it here. Trying to see if I can find it here. Because apparently Lyra Valkyria is replacing Tiffany Stratton as Ava, Rock's daughter, revealed that due to some undisclosed injury, maybe that's a storyline thing. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But apparently, Lyra is going to be stepping in for Tiffany Stratton. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick for you guys because I just had it before Showtime, and now I found it. I found it. Yeah, Ava announced on Twitter that Tiffany Stratton is not medically cleared to compete at NXT Homecoming, and Lyra Valkyria is going to be the replacement in that six-woman tag match against Fatal Influence. So that's the latest update on that one. So that should be a pretty cool. Let me shut this door, guys. That should be a really cool moment for everybody and everything. But first things first. Well, wait a minute. Actually, I don't. Maybe I can't shut the door right now. You want to say hi to the good folks out there? One of my furry little daughters is looking at me kind of like maybe she wants to make a little bit of a cameo. It's not my kid from last week. It's a different kid from last week. Hey, you want to make a cameo? You want to say hello to the good people out there? Come on. Don't be scared. Ah, there we go. Oh no, she's shy. Oh, she's being shy. she I don't think we're gonna get her to look dead at the camera, guys. I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. Hey, you good? You good? You want to say hi to the good people out there? No, no. Will you at least let them get a good look at you? How about that? Will you at least let them get a good look at you? That's Holly, folks. If you've seen enough of the foodie reviews, you guys know anytime I'm doing a foodie review, go ahead, go ahead. Anytime I'm doing a foodie review, she is always right there waiting for me to open up whatever snacks. And no, to you guys that's wondering, no, 99.9999999% of the time, she does not get any of the stuff you see me snacking on. Not unless I unintentionally am nibbling on something and shit drops on the floor and she just happens to be right there. Boom. But like, that's extremely rare, extremely rare. So yeah, that's what's going on all of those fronts. Just talking off the head, just randomly about what happened with Raw tonight. John Cena kicking off the show, opening things up, very fiery, passionate promo. You could tell how much, and rightfully so, because it was in Boston, Massachusetts tonight. But you could tell how much it meant sincerely to John Cena that for the last time, basically, he is in front of his home crowd, there in Massachusetts and everything. Loved hearing him talk about how he went to college just down the street and everything. He was an old lineman and all that good stuff. Me and Tams, we talked about it over the weekend on Wrestling with the Topics, which if you haven't checked it out yet, it's available right now wherever you get your podcast. Check it out after you get done with this episode. But I still think, now that I'm here doing the solo show, for the record, mind fucked. I am over the fact that Boston was not willing to shell out the money to secure John Cena, WWE. Like, you just would have thought, okay, Boston, Massachusetts, John Cena, the final time. This is it. You just would have thought that they would have been all right with that, but apparently, city government officials and all that, that was just a little bit too rich for their blood. And I mean, you kind of understand their mindset. They're basically going, this is 2 weeks before Christmas. We don't really think this would be a really smart investment. We don't really think we're going to get a return in investment here. You kind of understand where they're coming from, but it's a boneheaded move. It really, really is. I don't know. But hey, that's our gain right here in Washington, D.C. So we now are the spot for John Cena's final appearance. Can't believe he's already down to 6 appearances. That is just insane when I hear that. 6 appearances left for this guy. John Cena putting over the fact that for years, Brock Lesnar has been notorious for popping up randomly, kicking his ass. Cena mentioning the fact that he could easily go backstage, pull a move verbally, and say, yo, I don't want to fight this guy. And that got a huge pop from the crowd. There was a particular line where Cena said something along the lines of, I could just say, no, I don't want to wrestle this guy. I only have but so many appearances left, and there's, other folks that I would like to face. No means no. And just the way that he played with the words. I don't know if anybody else that watched tonight or will be watching Raw in a little bit. I don't know if I might be the only one that's kind of feeling this way, but when I was hearing Cena go through that, part of me was thinking, is John Cena kind of low key here, addressing the whole Brock Lesnar, Janelle Grant situation? Is he kind of giving a little bit of a nod to that? And this is essentially John Cena's way of saying, look, I don't really want to be dealing with controversy. Because when you go back and you really pay attention to those words and the fans reacting, this wasn't, make no mistake about it, this wasn't a case where the fans were essentially going, oh yeah, thank you, Cena. Yeah, hell yeah. It almost was a get your decoder out and see if you can decipher this. That's almost how that part of his promo came off. But then he flipped it right back to, hey, I'm doing what I'm doing because of you all. And it's like, well, not for nothing, John, but I don't exactly recall hearing a whole bunch of fans going, what would be good on Cena's way out? How about if he faced Brock Lesnar one more time? I promise you, nobody nobody was jumping out there and doing all of that. But yeah, John Cena said something along the lines of saying no is safe and easy. Just the way he emphasized all of that, it really had the fans jumping on to that. Cena recognizing the fact that he's the last real champion, and all his days that's left here, all the battles that he's had in the ring and everything, he's trying to do his best to leave the WWE in a really good place, better than it was when he came along, and everything. And he recognizes the fact that he's going to be going to Suplex City, and Brock Lesnar just may kick his ass and all of that. But he's very quick to remind Brock Lesnar that uh, Cena found his Suplex City by taking Brock's best. So it was good stuff. Good little promo right there, by John Cena and everything. Of course, we had the continuation and friction going on between LA Knight and Jey Uso. But the $1 million question: who was Jey Uso on the phone with this week? That's the real story right there. Was he on the phone with Roman Reigns, getting some advice there? What exactly was going on? Curious minds want to know. Was he maybe on the phone talking to Paul Heyman? Like we got to know who was Jey Uso on the phone with. WWE made it very deliberate for us to speculate who Jey Uso was chatting on the phone with. So let me set this up properly for you guys. So LA Knight came across Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, looked like somewhere out in the loading dock, parking lot situation or whatever. And he was about ready to throw it down, LA Knight, with Jey Uso. Jimmy tried to be the intervener there. Adam Pierce coming in, trying to cool things down, letting them know, you guys, I will issue fines left and right, like, stop this. They caught up with Pierce later on. Pierce wanted to know how everything can be smoothed out. LA Knight letting it be known, yo, simple. Let me get my hands on the Vision. Give me Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. That's what's up. Pierce is like, okay, well, you can have that, but it's just you. Like, what do you propose? He's like, well, let me have a partner of my choosing. Knight decided he wanted for Jimmy to be his tag partner. Jay was not feeling that whatsoever. Jay and Jimmy ended up talking later on, and that's where we saw Jay literally getting off the phone. It's almost kind of very discreet, the way that he did it, and just quickly got off the phone. Because even when Jimmy asked him, hey, who was that you was talking to? Jay just shrugged that off and everything. And this came after Jimmy and Jay. No. This came after Jimmy and Knight had some words prior, where Jimmy let LA Knight know, I'm not trying to get in the middle of this. This is toxic on so many levels. I don't want nothing to do with this, dog. So now Jimmy's having a chat with Jay. Jay is pretty much giving him an order that he cannot do this match, this tag match with LA Knight. Yeah, Jimmy not feeling the bass in Jay's voice, and pretty firm, pretty quick to remind Jay, yo, I don't see no Ulafala around your neck. So you need to be careful with that bass. And he actually ended up taking the tag match in spite of how Jay came at him and everything. We'll talk a little bit more about that match. Actually, you know what? I mean, we're right there, right? We're right there. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it because that was actually our main event match. But if you guys are just now tuning in, we still got loads more matches and highlights and all that to talk about from tonight's WWE Raw. Again, we're just kind of going with the flow and everything. LA Knight, Jimmy Uso taking on Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Breaker, Reed picking up the win. I'm telling you, man, B&B, that's what I like to dub them. They are finding their groove as a tag team. I am loving the fact that right now they are essentially separated from Seth Rollins and all of that. You just know, though, you kind of have as a fan in the back of your mind that eventually we are going to circle back to them rejoining Rollins and Becky. As far as on a regular basis, especially now that Becky's officially in the mix with the Vision, you just know they're going to make sure that all of these guys are a united faction in the weeks ahead and everything. But me personally, I really, really love seeing B&B just venturing out on as their own. They keep getting better as a tag team. I gotta say, they are feeding off of each other extremely well. Not for nothing, but flipping that and going to the other side of the aisle for LA Knight and Jimmy Uso, I thought for what it was worth, I thought they flowed very good as a tag team and everything. Love the added friction and drama too, coming from all of this, pretty much setting up the Usos taking on B&B at Wrestlepalooza weekend and everything. Post match, Jimmy takes a spear by Braun Breaker. Looks like it's about to be a serious beatdown when all of a sudden Jey Uso comes out there for the save. He's got a chair in hand, knocks out Braun with it. Bronson punches the chair out of Jay's hand. Jay, though, coming right back, pretty much laying the big man out. From there, we see Jay go to assist his brother. LA Knight, meanwhile, has a steel chair in his hand. Looks as though he's getting ready to attack from behind when Jay and Knight lock eyes. Jay's pretty much telling him, go ahead, get froggy with it. LA Knight decides against it, throws the chair down. Two of them dab. Seems like everything's squashed. Jay turns his back. Knight hits him with the blunt force trauma. Looking on at Jimmy, letting him know, you and me, we're cool. I got no beef with you. But if you're Jimmy Uso, again, Jimmy Uso, not for nothing, he foreshadowed this earlier. He said he was not trying to get involved in this drama, that it was very toxic and he wanted nothing to do with it. And now he's essentially paying for it now. Oh my God. And look, you could almost make an argument that maybe Jay somehow saw all of this potentially going down, and ultimately it's why he did not want Jimmy to do this match. Jimmy feeling prideful and all that other shit, right? Letting pride mess with his head and all that, that whole sense of masculinity being questioned, being threatened, and all of that, and not really taking a step back and thinking about things, right? You also can't help but wonder what this does to the whole psyche and all that going into WrestlePalooza weekend. How there mentally is Jimmy going to be for this match? Is he going to be pretty annoyed there riding in the Saturday
that's going to be a really interesting tale, honestly. That's going to be the real tale of the tape, is how much can Jimmy put whatever went down tonight to the side and storyline and focus on the business at hand against B&B. Wait and see how all of that plays out. Meanwhile, some other stuff going down on tonight. By the way, shout out to the commentary team for this week. It was Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves. They did pretty damn good. I thought they did very, very good. Nice flow. Really nice, good flow. I'm glad that Joe Tessitore is getting more and more opportunities and everything. Honestly, with Wade Barrett away for a couple of weeks, and that was just funny how all of that played itself out. Seriously, all that drama, all that bullshit reporting. Covered it on Wrestling with the Topics. I believe we talked about that. Was that over the weekend? That actually might have been not this past weekend, but the weekend before. It's just hilarious how all of that had played itself out. Some other in-ring action. Going back to the women, showing them some more love. Stephanie Vakir. Oof, Lord have mercy. Every time I see Stephanie Vakir, I just need a cigarette, man. Seriously, I just need a cigarette. Taking on Kari Sane. Nice little instant backstage Acme feud. That's pretty much how we got this one. Stephanie was just minding her own goddamn business, and she was chatting it up with Io Sky, as a matter of fact, because Adam Pearce basically was congratulating the both of them. I guess they just signed their contracts for the match at Wrestle Palooza, and Pearce was saying to them, "Yo, looking forward to this match. When it's all said and done, one of you is definitely going to be walking out as the new women's champion. May the best woman win. Can't wait to see this match." And so Vakir and Sane, actually, correction, Vakir and Sky, very nice, friendly banter, verbal banter between the two of them. And then all of a sudden, Asuka crashed the scene, talking a whole bunch of hot trash and everything, and pretty much served up Kari Sane on the silver platter. Yeah, Kari can kick your ass. Boom, instant Acme feud. That's pretty much how we got this one. Fun match, though. This was actually a really fun match. Kari looked, since she's been back, because we've seen her now for like a couple of months, and I can honestly say that in the previous months, it really seemed as though Kari, uh, I won't say confidence. Confidence wise, not the issue, but it just kind of seemed like maybe just a slight little bit of ring rust was maybe there. And that's okay. But this was a far better outing for Kari Sane than what I've seen in the previous weeks and everything. This was almost like seeing Kari Sane getting back to rare form and all of that. So, are we potentially looking at the next women's champion there in Stephanie Vakir? Uh, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, you need to ride that out, man. I mean, she's got the hot, steady hand right now. She is clutching the fourth quarter. Like, if you don't go with her, that's all I gotta say. If you don't go with her, like, I can see this also happening in a way where Oscar and Kari Sane, where they try to help Io become champion. And I can just see Io going, "I'm not trying to win it this way. What the hell? Like, no, I'm not trying to win it this way. Fuck off." And I could see Asuka and Kari essentially screwing her over. But then, do you have Rhea in the mix as well at WrestlePalooza? Do you throw her in the mix as well? The last thing I want to see happen is a whole bunch of clusterfucks and overlapping of overbooked shenanigans in this match. That's like the last thing I want to see. I really hope that we're going to be in a really good position where they really let this match just breathe, and it plays out how it plays out. And we'll see what happens. I mean, we did get a little bit of a foreshadowing where Io did say to Asuka and Kari post all of this that she wants to go at this alone. She insisted on flying solo for her match against Stephanie Vakir. Asuka, again, talking a whole bunch of hot trash, but pretty much honoring it and all that. So, we'll see what happens, but this could easily. You just gotta have that in the back of your head, right? You just gotta have that in the back of your head. El Grande Americano picking up a win over Dragon Lee. Some pretty good stuff there by the boys. I'm still not a fan of all of these goddamn Americanos that's running around. Obviously, it's leading to something. My prediction is Chad Gable is eventually going to return. I got another kid in here. She's actually the sweetest one too. I can easily just pick her up, but she's playing with her panda bear right now. She doesn't really. She's looking at me like yes. But anyway, I predict that Chad Gable is eventually going to return, and he's going to be like, "What the hell is going on here?" I can honestly see that playing out. He's going to be like, "What the hell?" I leave, and all these different, uh, you know, these these fake ass Americanos pop up, and I can just hear Adam Pierce going, "How do you know they're fake, Chad? Chad, huh? How do you know they're fake? What makes you say they're fake? Right? Prove it." I can just hear Chad Gable saying it. This is going to come to a head though, where Chad Gable, oof, something that I just realized too is American made. We haven't seen them in a little bit. Now that I'm really stopping and I'm thinking about it, I have not seen Ivy Now in a minute. I haven't seen the Creed brothers in a good minute. I hope that maybe to a certain degree they're going to be involved with NXT Homecoming. Load that bad boy up. Put as many people on there as you can get. Yeah, we had two other Grande Americanos that popped up, and they pretty much had help what appears to be Ludwig Kaiser, uh, Grande Americano, pick up the win over Dragon Lee. And this was despite the fact that, what's his name? AJ Styles. We've seen Dragon Lee getting different rubs from certain superstars. One point, Rey Mysterio, and now as of late, he's been trying to get a rub there from AJ Styles. So AJ kind of returning the favor since Dragon Lee had his back a couple of weeks ago and everything, returning the gesture. And but we saw another Americano pretty much negate AJ Styles, and that ultimately, with some ringside shenanigans, pretty much helped Grande Americano won Kaiser pick up the win and all that. Besides that, we'll come back to that in a little bit. Penta. Tell you, man, every time Penta hits that pose, that little dance that he be doing, that's me whenever I'm at Burger King, Golden Corral, IHOP, someplace that's got a salad bar. That's me every time, man. I be hitting that pose, man. Seriously, I be hitting that pose. Getting ready to take out the trash, I'm hitting that pose. Getting ready to walk the dogs, I'm hitting that pose. Getting ready to wash my car, I'm hitting that pose. Getting ready to check the mailbox, I'm hitting that pose. I'm telling you, legit, I'm hitting that pose every time. I stay finding myself hitting that pose. Anyway, Penta taking on Xavier Woods. Decent match. Not really much to this. But a nice little average match. I think my biggest gripe about this was that it was just a little bit too short. Backstage, Grayson Waller, Kofi, Xavier, they did a serious gang up on Penta, laid him out big time. We actually saw the Viking Warriors pretty much chase them off, trying to assist Penta, see how he's doing and all that. So obviously, you got a nice little segue for a future 6-man tag match right there, right? Got to be honest with you guys, I totally forgot about the Viking Warriors. Totally forgot about them. Nice to see they're around. Let's start utilizing them properly again. That's my whole gist. Beyond that, one other thing we can talk about, which was another really good highlight for tonight. Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch shared segment with CM Punk and AJ Lee. I love this. This segment was full of nice gems of that's a nice little zinger. Probably one of my most favorite zingers. I took down a couple of notes. Probably one of my most favorite zingers from this though was when AJ says to Becky, I'm a Puerto Rican from New Jersey. Sometimes I shank a chick. I wish she would have said, sometimes I shank a bitch. I wish she would have said that. There's another line that AJ said too, where she goes, Becky walked right into this. She set herself up. And I love the way, this kind of took a couple of minutes, but AJ circled back to it and burned Becky good. Becky said to set it up, "Oh, I read your book, and I read that part, about your neck and how it's not good, and I can't help but wonder, what's gonna happen with you this weekend." How's that neck going to be holding up? And Becky just went on and on and on and on and on for like several minutes. And then eventually, when AJ started talking, AJ goes, thank you for reading my book. Appreciate that. I didn't read yours. It was just a nice burn, just the way AJ delivered that line. Good shit. WWE has been on a roll with the cities they've been showcasing AJ. They've been very, very smart, have they not? I mean, really stop and think about it for a second. We've pretty much seen AJ get a hero's welcome all along the East Coast, Midwest. I mean, really, really stop and think about it. Everything kicked off in Chicago. Then you went out to Wisconsin, and now you've essentially followed it up with Massachusetts. So it's really good how they pretty much been doing this. I gotta say, but I loved hearing AJ just destroy Becky Lynch there. Seth and Becky, they played really good off of each other. I want to see more of them playing off of each other. They just seem so loose. They just seem so comfortable, right? And like right down to the point, you can almost picture them legit away from the cameras and all of that shit. You can almost legit picture them going the odds over best 80s metal band or glam rock band, and you could just almost kind of see them going through whatever little banter with one another, right? I say all that to say when we saw how things were with them under Vince McMahon, we all can be in agreement. That shit really came off so forced. And it was just, well, let's just put them together and just it really was not the right time uh at all. Wasn't the right time at all. And It seemed like a really good idea on paper. It did, but when you look back on it now, they had no business, and you kind of understood in retrospect maybe why they were doing what they were doing. If you asked me, my personal opinion, I think it was a Vince McMahon vanity project in trying to do his very best to get Seth Rollins over with the fans. And Vince's whole mindset was, well, they like Becky more than they do Seth, so let's try to build upon that. That's what I honestly feel. Y'all can sound off and let me know what you think about that, but that's where my headspace is at on that one. Trying to think what else had happened from this segment, which was again pretty good. I was talking about the banter from Rollins and Becky. Loved hearing them verbally cut into the crowd. Seth telling CM Punk, "I'll give you credit. One thing, one positive thing that I'll say about you is getting with AJ. That's the best thing that's ever happened for you. Personally in your personal life. But as far as business goes, big mistake involving her." Pretty much, you almost can't help but wonder if you got a foreshadowing here of things to come. As far as, are they gonna try to do something here where Becky and Seth isolate AJ, try to expose that neck injury and story, right? And do something so severe with her that we see CM Punk really get pushed over the edge and everything. It's kind of, you just can't help but kind of wonder about little stuff like that. AJ admitting, hey, yeah, my neck is definitely messed up, and not for nothing, I won two women's championships off of this messed up neck. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, the one thing that AJ and Punk did point out is, hey, look, say what you will about us, but y'all can't really get on the same page. Y'all are, essentially vanity hog spotlight, hoggers and all that. And, you guys really sure you can be a united couple against us and everything. So that was kind of nice how all of that had played out. Now, going towards the end of everything here, Uh, Seth says that Punk has a nasty habit of leaving when the going gets tough and when it seems like things are pretty much not going Punk's way. And then Punk wondered what's going to happen when his hot wife, Becky, rips AJ in the shreds. She better hope that Punk, you know, since he has this whole habit of leaving people, Seth's whole message to AJ, yo, you better hope that when it's all said and done, and you get fucked up pretty good, AJ, you better hope that CM Punk doesn't leave your ass. To which AJ smacks Seth Rollins really good. Seth wasn't feeling that. Verbally demanded that Becky step in, drop her ass. Becky not doing it. She wasn't feeling it. Rolled out of the ring and pretty much saying, "This is twice now you've put me in a really awkward position that I'm not feeling." No, not having it. Not having it. She actually rolled out of the ring. Seth was about to chase her when CM Punk called himself trying to look for the GTS on Rollins. Rollins escaping it. Punk chasing after Rollins. This pretty much had set up AJ looking on, exposed, Becky attacking from behind, hitting AJ with the man slam. CM Punk quickly getting in the ring, trying to check on his wife. Becky trash talking like a mofo to Punk, bitch slapping him again. Oh my God. Like, you know what, man? I'm telling you right now, And we're going to get into predictions, not on this episode, but we're definitely going to get into predictions this week for Wrestlepalooza. But I just have this sick, deep feeling that they're probably going to do AJ. They're probably going to set her up like Shawn Michaels and let her be gone for a little bit, just to sell whatever injury happens at Wrestlepalooza. But I could just see Seth Rollins going, you know what? Fuck this. I said I was never going to lay a hand on a woman, but I'm going to make an exception. I can just picture CM Punk delivering a GTS, and then poor Becky Lynch is coming out with a nose, with one of those mask cases around her nose and everything, pulling a Brady Bunch. Oh, my nose! Right? One of those type of ordeals going on. That pretty much was Raw, though, in a nutshell. Great work for a go home show, definitely in setting up Wrestlepalooza this weekend. Wait a minute. Wrestlepalooza, I thought it was on Saturday. For some reason, now I'm kind of going, wait a minute, or is it on Sunday? I know it's supposed to happen. Yeah, I'm remembering it right. It's happening on Saturday, September 20th. Yeah. 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I will be live after it goes off the air. I'm looking forward to that. Can't wait. Let's see what you guys had to say about this week's Raw. See if we can get an early pulse on some of the voting that's been coming in here. Right now I am seeing a tie at 20%. We're doing great letters. Great letters. Sometimes we do great letters. A, B, C, and then in the last little place, D, F. Okay. So right now I'm seeing a tie at 20% for C and for B. Appreciate you guys. Right now, top dog, 60% of the votes given this week's Raw. A. Appreciate you guys that voted via Twitter. Let's see how you guys voted via YouTube here. Let's see here. YouTube. Head over to posts. All right, let's see what you guys said. All right, cool. 33% of you are giving it a B show rating. Cool. 67% an A. Yeah. This is one of those. It's still early voting, but yeah, we're of the same mind wave right now. So that's actually pretty good. All right, so we got that out the way. Let's piggy on back for just a hot little bit. I did watch WWE and Triple Mania's Worlds Collide event in Las Vegas. It's actually a pretty solid show. Really good show. I thought JBL, Corey Graves, Conan did another banger of a good job on commentary. Once again, um, I gotta be honest with you. I was going through the motions of the matches because not all the matches. I gotta be honest. Not all the matches I cared about. Perfectly being honest, not all the matches I cared about. The ones that really, really caught my eye. And I'll go ahead and give you guys quick results, but I definitely will take the time out to pause and talk about the matches that, definitely caught my eye and ones I think that you all should definitely go out of your way, check out and everything when you get an opportunity. La Parca defeated Latino World Order. And Mina Abismo in a Lucha Showcase 8-man tag match. Remember, Latin World Order had paired up with Le Parca and Mascarita Sagrada and Aztec Warriors. So you had that one. Natalia, meanwhile, she defeated Fabi Apache. It was a singles match to determine the number one contender for the AAA Reina de Reinas championship. And we had essentially got MMA Natty that came out during this match. Natty in rare form, man. I was loving this. This actually was one of my favorite matches of the card. Pagano and Psycho Clown defeated Grayson Waller and Kofi Kingston to retain their AAA World Tag Team titles. I gotta see more of Psycho Clown. I really, really feel that from a marketing standpoint, WWE could do some really cool shit with Psycho Clown. Pagano as well, but more so Psycho Clown. I see some really promising stuff there, especially from a merchandise type of view. And then I'm also thinking about the age demos. He definitely would hit quite a few age demos. Lola Vice teaming up with Mr. Iguana again, defeating Judgment Days, Finn Balor, and Roxanne Perez mixed tag match. It was pretty solid. El Hero de Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated Dragon Lee, Ethan Page, JD McDonough, Fatal 4-Way for the AAA Latin American Championship. A little so-so. Main event match. This one I definitely was able to get behind. Dominic Mysterio defeating Vikingo singles match for the AAA Mega Championship. That was definitely the match of the evening. That match alone pretty much was worth the admission. The whole point of even checking out this edition of Worlds Collide Las Vegas personally. So, the fact that I was able, out of 6 matches, the fact that I really was able to enjoy 3 really good matches, right? For everybody else, especially those of you that's like, I don't really care for the Triple Mania, just go out of your way and at least check out those 3 matches. Promise, you will thank me later. You'll be like, Leah, I watched those 3 matches, and I don't know, maybe you'll actually end up uh, uh, liking the entire show. Honestly, you may end up liking the entire show. Who knows? Some other stuff we can get into on tonight's show. We were talking about Wrestle Palooza. Let's preview that for you guys. And then at the same time, I want to give you guys an update on all the streaming details and provider updates. So you guys, have a really good idea on what all is going to be happening. Because I know there's a lot of you guys that are still kind of left in the dark and everything. So WrestlePalooza, as you know, is going to be happening in Indianapolis, Indiana. Pat McAfee is going to be making his return September 20th, Saturday, September 20th. So this is your card as it stands right now. We're looking at 5 matches. We got Io Sky taking on Stephanie Vicaire. Singles match for the vacant Women's World Championship. Meanwhile, GA and Jimmy Uso take on the Visions, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Elsewhere, CM Punk, AJ Lee taking on Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, mixed tag match. Cody Rhodes defends the undisputed WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Singles match. Maybe that might change, and maybe it might become a street fight. Maybe it might be a gimmicky match. Who knows? I have to wait and see how that plays out. But that is your WrestlePalooza event. Remember, this is going to be the first live WWE PLE event that's going to be taking place on ESPN. So look, at this point, and shout out to the guys, because I had read a really good article by Awful Announcing. There was a really good article where they had talked about how you still have a decent amount of folks that sadly are not going to be able to check out this new era in WWE programming. As I'm trying to see if I can find the article here, and sadly, I'm not able to find it. But as it stands right now, if you have YouTube TV, as it stands right now maybe something might happen before the weekend or by this weekend. Have to wait and see. I personally, if I were you, I wouldn't hold the breath. I'd look into some alternatives. But way it's looking right now, YouTube TV, you guys are still in the dark when it comes to accessing that new ESPN. Remember the whole deal was, oh well, if you are accessing ESPN through this method or this method, like no additional cost, you are pretty much good to go. But otherwise, you're going to have to pay $30+ to be able to watch those WWE live events through that ESPN app. You got to basically go the unlimited route, right? That's how you got to do the highest tier. So, and right now we are talking about, I'm trying to think what was the number I read. I want to say that's like 9 million subscribers there for YouTube TV. So that's a nice little chunk. That's a nice little chunk. If not, that's a rough estimate too. I think it's a little bit higher than that, but that's a decent amount of people. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure I get the right. How many subscribers are there for YouTube TV as of 2025? Just want to make sure I'm giving you guys the right information because I hate when I give you guys the wrong information. And I remembered it right. Yeah, according to Stream TV Insider, as well as NC Screen Media, as of April 2025, YouTube TV has about 9.4 million subscribers, and that's just in the United States alone. So, when you think about that, you can't help but go, all right, well, out of those 9.4 million subscribers, how many of those would actually subscribe to that ESPN if it was, made available to them, right? How many of them would actually check out the WWE product? Because remember, and I want to make sure I clarify this for those of you that maybe have YouTube TV, but you've never poked your head around. Uh, like you would think that because you already have ESPN, maybe there's a way you can just tap. No, there's not. And last I saw, there is no option through YouTube TV where you can just, for an additional X amount of money, add on that new ESPN app or whatever and access the WWE live content that way. No, like you're literally going to have to go outside of YouTube TV and all of that. So, as far as a rundown of how you can access WWE Wrestle Palooza, keeping in mind that as far as YouTube TV, you're fucked, and as far as Comcast TV, you're screwed from that standpoint as well. Here are your options. Just to go over it. Just to go over it. So, no, 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 no. Hang on a second here, guys. Hang on a second. Somebody hit me up with a message just now. I hate reading messages when I'm live and I'm trying to do the show and everything. Hang on, let me respond to this real quick. Hang respond to this real quick. Uh, Okay, now you guys got my undivided attention. It was actually a good thing. I had to respond to that. It was actually a good thing. All right, but I know everybody's going to be like VPN. Look, if that's what you got to do what you got to do, right? Do what you got to do. Go VPN, go the international route, and you'll be okay. All right. But this ESPN's direct to consumer streaming service, the ESPN Unlimited plan, which is WWE's PLE full live streaming, that starts through ESPN standalone streaming service under the Unlimited plan. As you know, some offer it bundled, like Disney, Hulu, to reduce the costs and certain promos and all that. Um, the way you're going to have to do this is depending on if you have a smartphone, streaming stick. It depends. It depends on how you're going to be able to do this. This person is still messaging me, and I just told them I was live on the air. It's like, leave me alone. I'm being nice about it, but it's like, come on. So, this ESPN app, you can access it right now. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm giving you guys the most realist information in real time that's humanly possible. You can get this working for your smart TVs, your mobile apps, iOS, Android. It's definitely available on streaming boxes such as Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, the PlayStation, the Xbox. I don't think it's available via Nintendo Switch. Web browsers, for sure. This is the main way cord cutters out there can watch the WWE PLEs. For those of you that have the TV provider situation going down, if you already subscribe to ESPN through cable, satellite, or digital provider, then you can log into the ESPN app or website with your TV provider credentials, and that will help you unlock the live WWE events without paying separately for the unlimited plan. So that's where things stand right now. Remember this whole thing, for those of you that's thinking about international access, no, this whole ESPN stuff, just the United States only is how this is going down. So that is definitively how you guys are going to be able to do what you need to do. So you got a little bit of time to figure it out. I mean, look, honestly, if push comes to shove, especially if money is a little bit tight for you and you're not able to do the whole VPN shit right now, then you got the next best thing. You can always find yourself a wrestling streaming site, or maybe make your rounds checking out your favorite podcasts, see if they're going to be maybe doing a live watch along in their respective Discord servers, or maybe doing something via Patreon or whatever. You can always do it that way. Let's talk about Andrade. Andrade gone from WWE. It's amazing what's going on with these reports. First off, I had a hearty laugh over the weekend when people were going, no, over Andrade rolling out. And, one of the things that just kind of clicked in my head was, well, not for nothing, but him and Charlotte, they're no longer a couple. And, you know, at least last I heard, if they work things out, I don't know nothing about it, but last I heard, they are no longer a couple. So for me, it just seemed as though it was a matter of time before Andrade was going to be done with WWE. But it was amazing, putting that to the side. It was amazing seeing a decent amount of people go, WWE fucked up. What's wrong with these people? What were they thinking? They absolutely suck. What the hell, WWE? And And then you had other solid level-headed people that said, well, this sucks. Wasn't he supposed to have a dominant role there, play a pivotal role in AAA? Yeah, and yeah, you think back to when they first made the announcement, Andrade was there, and all of that. You're going, oh yeah, he's in a really good prime position. Yeah, this is what's up. So now it seems that more information has come about in regards to Andrade. I just want to read to you a couple of different reports. I'm going to start off with Dave Meltzer, who says the following. And by the way, whoever did the transcribing here of Dave Meltzer without putting in the like, um, kudos. I don't know the whole story, but I do know it was a discipline thing. It was a disciplinary thing. It actually is a story from a couple of weeks ago that just broke today. He was not fired until today, but a couple of weeks ago there was a disciplinary thing, and all I know is it was at a TV shoot, and he was told to go home, and he's not been used since. I was told it was not drug related, it was not alcohol related, it was not marriage related, but nobody would tell me what it was, but it was enough to be sent home. The feeling when he was sent home was that it must be serious because you don't hear about that happening often. He hasn't been used since, and I was told that when he was sent home, the people who know, were not told that he was done, but they assumed that he was done. And then today was the confirmation that he was done. I don't know what it is. I don't want to speculate or anything like that. I know of things, but I don't think this had to do with that. I know they wanted him in the AAA project. He didn't do it. So there's that. But I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. I'm sure of all of this will be denied in the next week or two, but that part, being sent home and disciplinary and all that, that's all accurate. And being fired, he may say, I was mad, I quit, I wasn't fired. That's what happened. So that is one report there by, again, Dave Meltzer. Meanwhile, shout out to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who notes that there is another story that is making the rounds is that Andrade was unable to be reached for several weeks as he left the United States to travel to another country in South America and didn't respond to WWE's overtures. So that, if that is true, that is definitely not good. That is a big, big no no. That is like the ultimate cardinal sin. That is the ultimate kiss of death right there. That's like the last thing you want to do. Shout out to John Alba of Sports Illustrated, who noted that Andrade had at least one wellness policy violation during his latest run and was suspended without pay as a result of it. He was also escorted out of the building during a show last month, which was in relation to his most recent suspension. So there is a lot of stuff that is going on here. Um, John Alba goes on to also note that Andrade's departure, again, not mutual, and that the company released him from his contract. Now, it's not clear as to whether or not he ever requested his release, but the decision to cut him was on the company's volition and not related to budget moves. So, Body Slam's Corey Hayes, shout out to him. He reported over the weekend that WWE had tried to get in touch for several weeks, but had been unsuccessful. So Kind of interesting. A lot of what's going on here with Andrade, and now Andrade did put out a post on social media. It was a picture of his hand and a little note that said "thank you," and he basically says to WWE, "Thank you." So you know, there's plenty of ways you could take that. You could either look at that as okay, he's being a good sport, he's being respectful, and okay, cool. Another way that you can look at that is wait a minute, did he essentially just play WWE here and essentially getting released by the company? Did Andrade play WWE? That's another way that you could definitely look at it as well. Another way you could look at it is wow, this guy really just does not give two fucks, does he? It's another way you can look at it as well. Uh, but some really weird behavior from Andrade. You just really can't help but wonder what exactly is going on. Not for nothing, but we've seen this pattern in WWE where when people are dating one another and emotions get really high, the relationships get more intense. There is a strong sense and desire of couples. And you see this not for nothing, not just in WWE, but in other promotions as well as AEW, TNA, and all that. You see these couples do their best to stay together and travel together, eat together, sleep at the same place, obviously, and all that other stuff. And I bring all that up to say this, which is, couples, they do any and everything to stay together, working for the same employer. Last thing you want to do is be in a situation where yeah, I'm working this show for this promotion, but my significant other, they're working a different show. It's for the same promotion. And somehow we're going to eventually cross paths with one another. Not sure how and when, but yeah. Or unless you got a nice little situation where, I'm going to go do this, but after I do this, I'll be looking at my significant other for the other 5 days of the week and we'll be able to spend time together, right? There is that. Um, Again, you're looking at the stuff that happened there with Charlotte and Andrade, and hang on a second here. I just want to make sure I have the most updated info here. Yeah, yeah, they are no longer together. Yeah. Shout out to people. I wasn't really even aware of the details, but apparently Sports Illustrated and People, shout out to them. Yeah, Charlotte filed for divorce in June of 2024 and it was finalized October of last year. So, you know, kind of interesting. I mean, not for nothing, but it seemed as though despite what was going on with Andrade, they came off like maybe they still had plans for the man, and your guess is as good as mine, honestly. I mean, I always like to say to people, hey, when it comes to you and your money, don't let any individual, always make sure that it's not personal, especially if you're thinking about leaving a company. Like, hopefully, if you're going to leave a company, you're going to leave a company because you're moving on to greener pastures, right? There's bigger, better things on the horizon for you, but you should never be leaving that source of income over an individual. It's kind of one of those suck it up, get over it, you'll be all right. Just keep your head down, do what you got to do. Look, your guess is as good as mine. I hate speculating, but I don't mind speculating. So as long as it's definitely defined that, yo, we're speculating here, right? And speaking as someone that was divorced one time, just one time, I am like doing it so good in my second marriage now, right? Like, you know, yay, I'm happy. But no, I can tell you when it came to my first marriage, you know, me and my ex, we tried being very friendly with one another. And for the most part, we got along good as friends, but there would be other times where we would clash because there were still strong feelings for one another. And that wasn't good at all. I know as far as me and moving on and trying to date other people and everything, I was able to ultimately make that transition just fine. And my ex was able to do so as well. But it seemed that the more that we shared with one another, the more complicated things got. And I know everything had came to a boiling point where I just decided, and at this point, Tams had been in the picture for many months. But I had decided right then and there when it reached that boiling point, and Tams agreed with me. It's like, yeah, this is just toxic. You need to, get away from this because you need that fresh start. You really, really owe it to yourself to give yourself a fresh start. Otherwise, this is just going to keep dragging you down and everything. And I just can't help but wonder if Andrade might have really been going through the motions, right? You just can't help but wonder. Sure, you might be able to, within reason, avoid going to the same gyms where your ex, would frequent, but there's that same inner circle of friends, colleagues that you all have in common. And, that can get really, really, that can make things very difficult. That can make things very difficult. So you just can't help but wonder how he was able to manage all of those. Was he managing those things well, or did he kind of get to a point where it got the best of him? I'm sure he'll probably speak a lot more when he's good and ready on the whole situation. But I would not be surprised if, because let me tell you something. You don't, there's no way, no how that you are with somebody that long that Andrade and Charlotte were a couple and then eventually got married. There's no way all those years being together that you're just able to at the snap, just at the drop. Okay, I can go ahead and I can just focus on, me. I'm doing this and that's the end of that. No, no. It's funny, not funny, but somebody has shared a video on social media earlier today where they showed this clip of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He entered the ring and all he had on was like t-shirt and I think his trunks and his trademark knee pads and all of that. And the person that posted it, she said, it's kind of sad here looking at Stone Cold, considering the headspace he was at going into this match. And this had other fans go, well, what was going on with Steve Austin? Where was his headspace at exactly? And the OP said, "Oh, well, he was going through a really bad divorce to his first wife, and he just was going through the motions. That he had apparently forgotten to take his vest." And so, yeah, it's a rare instance where you see Stone Cold just come on out and, he's just t-shirt. There's no telling. There's just no telling. So, I hope Andrade, whatever is going on with him, I just hope that now that he has this break from WWE, I'm hoping that he's able to do what he needs to do and mentally, get himself where he needs to be. Look, as far as could this guy eventually hit on back to AEW, that's very well possible, and I'm sure Tony Khan probably wouldn't mind having him back and everything. Um, Would I want to see Andrade back in AEW? No, at this point, I would rather. Oof, that's a tough call because I know some people are like, well, what about AAA? What if? Well, remember, no, no, just no, just stop. Come on, seriously. No, I think Andrade would be lost in AEW. Remember the original reasons ultimately why Andrade left AEW. Kind of seemed as though Andrade, when he first came to AEW, he was going to be like this really big deal. And for a hot little bit, you know, they was positioning him just right. And then things got ice cold very quick with Andrade. It was unfortunate, but it's the truth. And I, you've already gone down that path. Why not shake it up and try something new? Honestly, I think Andrade would do really, really good in MLW. I'm particularly thinking about my boy there, Dario Cueta from Lucha Underground. I don't know what name he's going under now over there in MLW, but I'm just picturing him, Andrade with Dario and Selena de la Renta. I think Andrade would do some serious wonders down there in MLW. So if I'm Kurt Bauer and the boys, I would definitely make a serious play for Andrade. I don't quite see Andrade doing stuff with New Japan. I'm just not seeing that in the cards whatsoever. Is it possible? Maybe CMLL? Yeah, yeah, that's definitely possible. Andrade could do something with them on a regular basis, but I think MLW that would be the really best and very solid move for the man, honestly. But first things first, before you even jump on this promotion or that promotion, or right, before you even do all that, first things first, you got to get the house in order, right? And that's the mind, the body, the soul. You got to take care of all that shit first before you even entertain. First time that, as long as I've been following the career of Andrade, first time I've ever heard this stuff floating around in a negative way. Him being involved in a wellness policy violation, and like you hear that and you go, wait a minute, man, we ain't heard no shit like this from WWE in a good minute. The hell is that about? Okay. And then you're hearing, wait, say what? A no call, no show, like companies trying to reach him, and he's not making himself available. What the hell? Did you fall in love? Did you find a new love? Right? Like, is there a new woman? Like, what the hell's going on? So, never heard any of these things before involving Andrade. So there's a lot of different ways that we can look at what's going on with him. One thing definitely is certain: respect the man, respect his privacy. If you're an Andrade fan and You mean well. Best thing you can do right now is just hit him up on his social media. Not sure what's going on. Hope everything's cool. I'm sure he would definitely appreciate that. Other than that, a relatively quiet week as far as wrestling news goes. I like that. I like when it's like that, honestly. I'm telling you this. I came this close to not even doing a show tonight. You want to know why? I felt that things were going to be dragging me physically. I felt like I was going to be dragging because my Tuesdays is a long day with classes. I mean, my day begins at like 7 in the morning, and I'm essentially not done until like 7 in the evening. That's just my Tuesdays, just all not filled, none but classes. So I was dreading coming on here doing the show, going, oh fuck, I'm gonna be here until midnight, a little after midnight. And then I actually forgot by about 15 minutes into Raw tonight. Oh shit, Raw is supposed to be coming on at a special start time, 7 p.m. And so it worked out great for me when it's all said and done. I get to put my recyclables out, let the girls out, watch the news, wait for my sleep aid to kick in. Boom. And I am going to be knocked out. So it worked out pretty good. As far as programming notes go, definitely going to be back with you guys this weekend for Saturday's Wrestlepalooza post show. We'll have that live for you guys. I'm pretty hyped up for that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this ESPN event runs and all of that. That's going to be big. That's going to be epic. Can't wait. And then Sunday, me and Tams are definitely going to be sitting down and recording a new edition of Wrestling with the Topic. So, for those of you that did not get a chance to listen to this weekend's Wrestling with the Topics, I would highly encourage you to go out of your way and check it out. It was a nice, well-rounded deluxe episode. We went all over the place. We definitely talked about the whole Charlie Kirk situation and how so many people in media, just their coverage of it, how so many of them got it wrong. Um, it led into a really great discussion about media framing structures, role of journalism. It's really good conversation that we had on there. So really sincerely, go out of your way, check that out if you haven't already. Want to give a shout out to our listeners, especially you longtime listeners and supporters out there. Shout out to our Patreon backers. Also, big thanks to everybody that's been checking out the content via TikTok, the YouTube channel. Tams and me sat down over the weekend and we recorded a whole bunch of new foodie reviews. I'm going to be uploading probably 2 of those bad boys this week. We got so much content for foodie reviews. I'm going to be able to do like drop 2 over the next couple of weeks. So like 2 a week is the goal right now. Shout out to our friends over at the IME iRadio station, your global soundtrack featuring the hottest indie artists of the 90s into the 2000s, throwbacks mixed in with today's top 40 hits. Think of it as a world tour, but for your ears. Vibe in, chill out, man. Discover your next favorite hit. I mean, we got some nice hits. Nice hidden gems from the US, Europe, Canada. You just never know what you're going to be able to find when you're checking those guys out. So, again, tune in, vibe out, discover that next favorite track. Check out the IME iRadio station streaming 24/7. They are a sponsor of this very episode. Beyond that, I'm going to say be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. Wherever you get your podcast, just search the RCWR show. You can also get me social media, same handle, same outlets. Use keywords, the RCWR show. If you haven't done so already, show love to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that bad boy. Give this episode over on YouTube a like. Really helps out with the algorithm and all that jazz. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. We did an hour 39 minutes. We are starting to find our groove. I love it. Love it. Let's keep it going. Take care, y'all. Peace.